certain point, but if it's not meant for us, if it's not written in this life story, it will not come to you. So when someone says, you can manifest whatever you want, I think that is not true.
All right, you're watching the Power Hour. I'm your host, DJ Larry Jones, and today I'm thrilled to have a special guest who is very passionate about helping people create the life they truly want. And she's here to share some tips with us on how we can create the life we want to live. Please welcome Tina. And I don't want to mess your last name up. How do you pronounce your last name?
My last name is Mundelsee. But
I'm
it's
not-
even hard for Germans to pronounce it right.
and that's where you're joining us live from Germany, right?
I'm German, but at the moment I'm living in Sicily.
Oh,
It's a-
okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Now we're talking about creating the life we are meant to live,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And before we get into that, I want to get into your backstory. Now, you're an author. You've written a book, haven't you?
I've written 2 books. Yeah. I don't know if you can see that here. Here we go. One is called Yoga Coaching, and one is a little pocket guide. It's called Think Happy, Be Happy. Because I used to own a yoga studio, and I don't know, but people always told me I had clients from all over, even tourists who would come to Sicily, and they would always tell me that my yoga lessons were giving them a little bit more. I was talking always during the yoga lesson and would always combine, make them aware that all the physical postures you do on the mat are actually there to influence and to resolve, your emotional baggage.
Let me ask you this: how can yoga can yoga help manifest your dreams?
See, I believe that you have a certain power in attracting what you want into your life, right? Because we are energy, right? Whatever animates this body is energy. And there is a law of energy. Energy attracts its like. Okay, so if you constantly think negative, you will attract more negative stuff into your life. That's simply a law of nature. But I also believe in karma, and karma is, how you're behaving, how you were behaving in previous lives, right?
Yeah.
And in this life, in the present life, somehow you have to make up for it, or you get rewarded for however you were in your previous lives. So I think we can manifest to a certain point, but if it's not meant for us, if it's not written in this life story, it will not come to you. So when someone says, you can manifest whatever you want, I think that is not true.
Right,
I
right.
think there is a higher force, call it life, call it universe, call it God,
Right,
that
right.
somehow has their hands in play.
So how do we know? How do we know what's for us and what's not for us? And we're trying to manifest a life that may not be for us. How can we determine what's for us and what's not?
I think life simply happens, right? We have very, very no influence almost over what is happening in life as much as we think, right? See, now you're producing these shows and you might have a family and you have all these goals and you work really hard. But actually, if you're really honest, you don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 seconds, right? Life can change like this, and life is like this. Life happens. So we can have dreams, and but things simply happen to us. And I think it's not so much about understanding what is right for us or what's not right for us. It's more about developing the ability to move through anything that life throws at us with an inner unshakable balance, and to accept simply that life just happens, and that maybe based on our karma, who knows if all this is right, this is, for me, it makes my life easier to believe in karma, right? To accept certain things, certain struggles, or also certain, good moments, right? So I think maybe, okay, I thank the universe, maybe because I helped someone else, the universe is giving something back to me. So I think it's more the goal, to make yourself so resilient, okay, and so aware that life simply has ups and downs, because that's how life is designed, and that the goal of life is simply to find a way to move through it without suffering, without getting devastated if life doesn't give you what your mind wants.
Yeah.
And then you feel what feels right. If something is too much of a struggle, so I have so many people, they think they need a relationship, they need a romantic relationship in their life, right? But they never find the right person. So, and then there's like, maybe a relationship is simply not for me. And then I always say, just stop chasing it, because if you chase after something, the natural response is that the object you're chasing is always going further away and it's running away from you. So simply, send out your dreams, do your best, do the best you can in every moment. Try to be your best. Try to make yourself so perfect, to love yourself that much. And then surrender, the final result of your actions to a higher force, to the universe, and be okay with that. But stop chasing, stop making your inner well-being dependent on a certain outcome, on a certain goal. Always do your best. Then if it happens or if it doesn't happen, your inner well-being shouldn't depend on that, because if it always depends on something or someone, and you're not really free. And we all want to be free, and we live with the illusion that we are free, but actually most of us aren't.
Right. So we should pretty much just find what interests us, right, and focus on what our interests versus chasing after a dream. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe in chasing your dreams, but you made me think about something when you said chasing. When you chase something, it runs away from you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, let's reword that from now on. Instead of chasing your dreams, what should we say other than chasing?
Simply do your best. Do your best. Follow your dreams. Work for your dreams. It's your responsibility. Do your best. Every single day you have to go to bed and you have to be able to say to yourself, today I did my best. But do not attach to the fruits of your actions. And that's a teaching from the Bhagavad Gita. It's a spiritual Indian text.
Right.
And that really gives you emotional freedom. Because if not, if you keep chasing and if you keep working hard, and then you experience a failure, right? Most people break down, most people give up, most people think, I'm not good enough or something like that, right? But instead, say, okay, I will continue. If you have the motivation, that's still my dream. I will still wake up every morning and do my best. That's all you can do. You can simply do the best. Do your best, and then let the universe take care of the rest.
I feel like you have an incredible story of your own.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about you and what you've gone through. I mean, because everybody's gone through something in life, and how did you become the person you are today?
So I grew up in a very small Bavarian village in Germany. All right, as an only child, I don't have sisters and brothers. And then when I was I was pretty lost as a teenager, I was always out and about and drugs and boyfriends and blah, blah, blah. I was never really content. I was always searching for something. Then when I was 18, I started leaving home and I moved to Greece. I worked in Greece. Then I moved to Costa Rica. I lived in Costa Rica. And then I moved to the States. I lived in the States. I lived in Switzerland. I lived on a cruise ship. I lived in Kuwait. I finally ended up in Sicily. So I was always looking for something. And I had always this feeling of like something is missing in my life. And then one day I did a yoga lesson. I was maybe in my 20s, early 20s. I joined one yoga lesson. And after that, I thought, this is what I'm looking for. This feeling I had after the class, this feeling of simply being okay for no reason, simply being okay. And I wanted that, to simply be okay, no matter if I have a boyfriend, no matter if I go out and have a party, no matter if I make my university degree, no matter if I have money, no matter if I'm rich. So I simply wanted to have that feeling. And that's when my spiritual search started. And then one day I just looked on the internet. By chance, I found a place in India and I just went there blindly. It was a horrible, horrible, dirty place. But the person who was there, the Guruji, he changed my life. And then I started studying the ancient yoga texts. And it worked through me. Then through meditation, I remembered things from my childhood that I never remembered before. They came up. And I remembered why I had this hard time as a teenager. It all made sense. It's like a puzzle that came together. And then I continued my spiritual practices and it helped me. Now I'm a person, I have a lot of patience, and it's really hard that I do not allow other people or circumstances to determine what happens within me anymore. Sometimes I break, and it's a hard time, especially when it comes to family and parents.
Yeah.
But, I have this feeling inside, I can control what happens within me. I have the tools, I know what to do, I focus on certain things, I have the knowledge. I had experiences in meditation that made me really experience that we are not body and mind. So that is very hard to explain if somebody never had this experience to think I'm a crazy person. So
let me ask you this: how important for people who may be watching right now and they're saying they've never meditated, they've never done yoga, explain the importance of meditation in yoga.
Okay, so see, all right, we come into this world, we're born as a human being, okay, and to function as a human being, we have a mind. The mind is our instrument. It allows us to function as a human being. The problem is nobody teaches us how to operate our mind. And then the mind starts to operate us when we are small. It depends on our surroundings, how we grow up, right? What we see, what our parents do, how they treat us, how we have to be to please our parents, to get our parents' attention, right? And all these things, right, they become our story, and they create our beliefs about how the world should be, how we should be, how others should see us, how our life should be, how our relationships should be. And then we run on this fixed program. Problem is that life never gives us exactly what our mind has programmed, what our mind wants. And as soon as life doesn't give us what our mind wants or thinks it's right or it likes, we suffer emotionally, right? So this is our dilemma. Then the mind says, I need this to be happy. We have this compulsive relationship. We do everything the mind wants. If we can't get what the mind wants, we feel emotionally, we suffer, okay? Because nobody teaches us how to deal with the mind. And yoga, the yoga scriptures, thousands of years ago, they were written to teach a human being how to operate the instruments, body and mind, to become this so emotionally resilient, to move through life, no matter what happens in life, ups and downs, with an inner unshakable balance, and how to choose how you want to feel. And that is true freedom. And now imagine this is written down thousands of years ago, and nobody teaches us that. If everyone knew that, Larry, nobody would be mentally ill. We didn't have all this physical disease, right? But our economies wouldn't work, right? If we didn't need all the things, to buy us a moment of happiness, our social structures would break, right? If we didn't need all the medicine, there would be a lot of less money for meditation. That's another subject to talk about.
Yeah, definitely.
Meditation. See, meditation is actually something that happens. What you do when you practice, that's called in Sanskrit dharana. That's the previous stage. You practice to keep your mind under control. So you sit down, you choose a point of focus, your breath, your third eye, a prayer, a mantra, whatever. You close your eyes and you practice to maintaining your focus and to not interact with the thoughts that come up. Okay. So this is how you train your mind, because then in daily life, you're able to shift your focus on what gives you a good emotion. And not simply sit there and allow your mind to bombard you with negative thoughts until you feel like shit.
Yeah.
When you manage to keep your focus for such a long time without being disturbed, when your practice became so strong that you can hold your focus, then eventually maybe meditation happens. And when it happens, then you experience that there is more to you than this body, this mind, and this story. Then you experience yourself. As yoga, the word yoga means oneness. Then you experience that your true self is the same energy, the same consciousness that animates every single form, every living being. Okay. And once you experience this, that you're not body and mind, then you're truly free. Because then you simply observe emotions and you observe thoughts and you observe feelings, but you have this healthy distance. It's not you. Right. That's life. That life is happening on the surface, and you are the silent witness to it.
Right. And what are some of the benefits? I know there's mental clarity, better decision making. What are some of the other benefits of yoga?
See, especially meditation. Okay, so when you sit and you practice to simply observe your thoughts, right, and your feelings that come up, instead of immediately compulsively reacting to them, instead of entering into a dialogue with every thought, making a big story about it, okay? Then in daily life, let's say you get triggered by something. You do not automatically fall into a panic attack or do not automatically respond in a certain way that then creates more suffering. You have the ability, you have trained your mind, yourself, to stop, to think, and to think about, what is my highest goal? Do I want peace or do I want to be right? Okay, and then you make a conscious choice on how you react. See, usually when you get triggered, your emotional side of the brain immediately takes over and draws certain conclusions, right? And then maybe immediately you panic. The logic side of your brain, that is too slow. It has to, to work through all the information, all the process, everything. Okay. So usually your emotional side takes over and immediately, creates also certain reactions in your physical body. Okay. And when you practice to observe the thoughts and not immediately react to them, then you can step back, hang on a second, and make a conscious, intelligent choice. See, most of the time, our emotions choose everything for us. And we also have an intellect. But the voice of the intellect, the volume is turned down. So we train, to let the emotions come, do not resist them, but don't react to them immediately. First, let the intellect talk, make intelligent choices. And this is how this is the benefits you get in your daily life.
Right. Well, wow. We can go on and on this topic forever. I do want to thank, unfortunately, we're running out of time, but I do want to thank you for joining me on the show today. If people want to get your book and read your book, how can they get their hands on it?
I'm on all social media. I'm with the handle Tina's Tools. Tina's Tools. And I offer a 1-year online course. It's called The Inner Revolution, where I really teach you in 108 lessons, how to operate your mind, your instruments, your mind, your body from within, so that you can lead really a self-determined life and that you can be truly free, that your inner well-being does not depend anymore on your past, on anyone or anything. And then you can enjoy life without things.
There you go. Keep it locked in right here. You're watching the Power Hour. I'm your host, Larry Jones. Thank you so much, Tina, for joining me on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Larry.
And don't forget, the Power Hour is sponsored by Kaya.
You're watching Soul TV.